Today, we're diving into the single most powerful force you have, your own mind. We're going to investigate a phenomenon that's usually just dismissed as a simple trick, where one person's focused belief can literally change another person's reality. This, my friends, is the real secret behind mesmerism, and we're going to show you not only how it works, but how it can be a matter of life and death.
So let me ask you something right off the bat. Could your own beliefs actually be powerful enough to kill you? I know it sounds like something out of a movie, but the evidence we're about to look at is, well, it's disturbingly real.
Our first stop is a case that is so chilling it's almost hard to believe. Now, this isn't a story about poison or weapons. This is about a death sentence that was carried out without a single fatal blow. You could call it a psychological execution.
Okay, so try to picture this. A group of doctors gets permission to run an experiment on a prisoner who's been condemned to die. They bring him into a room, they strap him down to a table so he can't move, and then they blindfold him. He has absolutely no idea what's about to happen, only that his life is completely in their hands.
Then he feels it. Just a tiny little pinprick on his neck. It's enough to draw maybe a single drop of blood. And that's it. That is the only physical thing they do to him. It's basically a scratch, nothing more.
But what he hears, that's something way, way more terrifying. He hears this steady, rhythmic drip, drip, drip of liquid falling into a tub right below him. And he's told, that's your blood, that's your life draining away. But in reality, it's just a tube of water set up perfectly to create the illusion.
And the doctors, well, they really cemented this illusion. I mean, they played their parts perfectly. Every few minutes, one of them would check his pulse and announce, loud enough for him to hear, that he was getting weaker. They kept telling him, you're losing too much blood. The end is near. They were literally building his reality for him out of nothing but suggestion.
And here is the absolutely unbelievable conclusion. The prisoner's body just followed what his mind was told to believe. He was so convinced that he was bleeding out that his body just started to shut down. After a little while, his heart simply stopped. He died. The cause of death wasn't a pinprick. It was an idea, a lie that he accepted as the gospel truth.
Now, this story isn't just some bizarre, creepy anecdote. No, it actually reveals a fundamental truth. The mind has incredible, profound control over the body. Our physical health is so often just a direct mirror of our mental and our emotional state.
And here's a way to think about it that really shows the difference in power. You know, a physical wound, a cut or a bruise, that can heal in a few days or weeks. But a mental wound, from a cruel word or a deep betrayal, that can last for an entire lifetime. And it can affect our health in very real ways, all without anyone ever laying a hand on us.
Okay, so you might be thinking, all right, that prisoner case is pretty extreme, but it's probably just a fluke, right? A one-off? Well, not exactly. This pattern shows up again and again and again throughout history. So let's just look at a few more quick examples that really prove how powerful our beliefs can be.
45. Let's talk about that number. For this, we have to go all the way back to 1890. To a hospital in Paris, because it was here, in the middle of a total disaster, that 45 people showed the world something absolutely extraordinary about the human will to survive.
So you have these 45 patients, and they were terminally ill. I mean, they were so weak they were literally counting their last hours and couldn't even put a foot on the floor. But then a fire broke out. Alarms start screaming, there's chaos everywhere, and these same people who were supposedly moments from death, they found this impossible strength. They leaped out of their beds and ran for their lives. Their sheer will to live completely overrode their physical reality, and their doctors were just stunned. They'd already written these people off.
All right, next number for you, 0%. This time we're going to a hospital in Calcutta for another tragic case where belief had fatal consequences.
So get this. A patient takes some medicine, but the bottle had been mistakenly labeled poison. He was immediately convinced he had sealed his own fate. He went into shock and died on the way to the hospital. But here's the crucial detail from the autopsy. There was zero poison in his system. The medicine was totally harmless. He died for one reason, and one reason only. He believed he had been poisoned.
And look, this isn't just a collection of weird stories. Check out this actual government data on snake bite deaths. As you can see on the chart, for every single person who dies from the snake's venom, 3 more die from the overwhelming fear of just being bitten. The terror itself is literally 3 times deadlier than the poison.
Okay, so we've pretty clearly established that the mind has this insane power, right? But the really big question is, how do you actually access it? Well, according to our source material, the secret isn't magic, it's a skill. And that skill is absolute, unwavering concentration.
You know, think about a tightrope walker, balanced way up high. If you ask them what their secret is, they're not going to say it's some kind of magic trick. They'll tell you it's years and years of practice. Practice in focusing their mind so intensely that in that moment nothing else exists. There is only them and the wire. All of their mental, all of their physical energy is focused on one single point.
There's a classic story that illustrates this perfectly. An archery master asks his students to hit a bird way up in a tree. As you can see here, the first student fails because he says he sees the tree, the branches, and the bird. Too broad. The second one sees just the tree and the bird. Still fails. The third sees only the bird. He fails too. But the final student, he succeeds. And when the master asks him what he saw, he says, "I see only the eye of the bird." That right there is the essence of mental power, narrowing your focus more and more until only the target remains.
So now it's time to bring all the pieces together. We have the raw, undeniable power of belief on one side, and we have the focusing mechanism of concentration on the other. And when you combine them, you finally reveal the science behind that phenomenon known as mesmerism. So here it is. This is the formula. You see, true mesmerism isn't some mystical energy transfer or hocus pocus. It's a psychological event. It happens when one person, the practitioner, applies that absolute laser-focused concentration, and the other person, the subject, holds a firm, unwavering belief in what's happening. When you get those two things to happen at the same time, incredible things become possible. And you know what? This dynamic isn't just for stage performers. It is a fundamental law of human interaction. I mean, think about any relationship: a teacher and a student, a parent and a child, a leader and a follower. The person with the more focused, more deeply held conviction will almost without fail influence the other. This focused mental energy, it's almost like a form of personal electricity. It's that invisible, intangible force that allows one commander to fill an entire army of thousands with courage, or one leader to inspire a whole nation. It's just projected belief, but it's amplified by concentration.
So we've seen that belief can heal, it can empower, and yeah, it can even harm. It is the silent force that is shaping our physical reality every single moment of every day. And that brings us to the final and most important question, the one I'm going to leave you with. Now that you understand the incredible power you hold, what is the one belief you hold so strongly that it could change your world?